Listen,
Never in my life associated the word boring with baseball.
we know what's up.
Me? Yeah. Famous? Yeah.
And I'm like giddy over there smiling like, we're about to win this shit.
Did everyone give you crap? Give me a good host story.
I'm not picking it up.
We both love the game.
We talk about it every day.
Can't get enough baseball.
Having some popcorn, you're fooling around your phone.
I'd have to wait in line for 3 hours.
Hang on, because it's about to be a wild ride.
There's no pitcher who I keep trying to ask if he's going to retire, but he won't give me an answer, that I'd rather be talking to than Rich Hill.
Hey, Rob.
Hello.
It's in the horizon. It's in the horizon somewhere.
Somewhere. I mean, isn't that the case for everybody?
True.
It's just the horizon closer.
Yeah. We're seeing the sunsetting and rising on another venture. We'll see.
All right. You know what I think you should do? I think that whenever that moment comes, you should do it. Because if you're going to retire, you have to don't be one of those guys. First of all, that just fades off. And we have to keep it. If you're gonna do it right. And I'm gonna be like your wedding planner, right? I'm gonna be your retirement planner.
How do you do it right? I don't even know how to do it. You get one shot at it. I guess guys have had one or two.
As someone who has gotten multiple people to retire, there's different ways that you can do it.
Yeah.
You can just do what Rick Porcello did, which is, hey, Rick, have you retired? No. You want to retire? Okay, sure. Rick Porcello, are you retiring? Yes. Okay, we're moving on. James Paxton was sort of the same way. Sean Casey texted me in a movie theater. So anyway, but here's what I think we should do. I'm like a wedding planner, like I said. I think you should be basically in a tattoo chair, getting your baseballs and boring tattoo. We'll have all the cameras. We'll have all the high level video production. I might bring in a director, and we'll say, okay, why you spring out of the chair after getting your baseballs and boring tattoo, and you say, I'm retired, but not from the great game of baseball. And it will always be.
Oh, I like that.
It will always be on my skin and in my blood. I just thought of that, by the way.
Ooh. That's right. That's great. That's incredible. You should copyright that, write it, and patent it. There we go.
Write
that down. I would get a baseball isn't boring tattoo on my neck if you could get me a World Series ring. That would be. I'd put it right here, right there.
Wait. So you would? So this is.
This isn't like Yahoo or what Amazon replica ring. I'm talking about the team.
But to add context to it, I have obviously Joe Kelly got the tattoo by doing exactly that. He got a tattoo. He, as a guy who has tattoos, he didn't get it on his neck. Like
that's true. I'd step it up.
Other people have committed throughout the year. Cora, Giolito, maybe.
Yeah, I saw the other day the hitting coach for Toronto, possibly.
Yeah, possibly.
Thought about it. He thought about it.
He's thinking Dylan Cease, Zach Gallen, all these people. But you're now. I have to ask the question. I say, listen to the next person I ask. I have all these people who are committed, but you don't want to know the ultimate commitment is Rich Hill will get it on his neck. So if I could get go ahead.
Yeah, and I think I obviously would have to be on staff, right? That would be that's the kicker. So yeah.
Okay.
Good luck with that. I gotta get that one. That one's gonna be
right after this is done. I'm gonna go over and say, Craig Breslow, can you hire Rich Hill as a special advisor?
Yeah.
Postseason?
He's looking for a assistant general manager or general manager, right?
Yeah.
For next year.
Yeah. But we
throw it in the ring. Here it is. Throw it in the ring. Throw the hat in there.
Oh, all right. we've solved a lot of the world's problems when it comes to retirement, I think. So just let me know. I got some ideas.
All right. Yeah, I was thinking you think big, you want to do it big. Mine is fade off into the distance and that's it. Not no frills.
Well, you could do it that way, or you could get a tattoo on your neck and again spring out of the chair and
I
say,
know that comes. I mean, I even thought about it. I thought about this long and hard because I said face tattoo. I don't know. Do you get one? Do you get one? Forehead. I mean, that's bold. That's the neck is very bold. That says you know, hey,
yeah.
listen,
Well,
we're not going. Corporate America is not calling.
the the good news is that if you do get baseball isn't boring tattoo on your forehead, the hats are in, so you could put the hat down over your forehead,
Right.
and so it will never leave you. So
It will be
when you
there
take
forever.
you either have it on the hat, or you take off the hat, and it's right there. It'll never leave you. So
Right.
yeah, it's kind of like what I have every time, I rip my shirt off and go all groundskeeper Willie, and I'm like, hey, just because I don't have my t-shirt on doesn't mean you aren't being get smacked in the face with a baseballs and boring tattoo.
That's right.
So
Under the hair, and then like when you feel like it, you shave it. It comes out. Oh, let
yeah,
it grow back in. It's in. It's kind of it's like a shade.
the ideas are popping. I think this is why I actually think that you would make a good GM because you think outside the
That's true.
box.
That's true. I think outside the box, I'd definitely be the creativity would be high. For the record, I have zero tattoos,
I know
so
that's,
this would
but
be
that's the point.
yeah.
I have, this. I have zero tattoos, but I got a tattoo because I'm
I know,
committed.
and you guys got you got the it looks great. Came out great
It is, and now everybody immediately wants to be part of the cool kids club. So there
from
you
the
go.
tattoo guy, from the tat
From
the
the tattoo guy. Yep.
Mr. Cartoon.
Mr. Cartoon. Oh, as a former Dodger, and that's the thing. He's a big Dodgers fan. You having done so much for
That
the
was
Dodgers, you might be able to get a discounted rate.
That
So
would be the guy. That would have to be it, I think, because
that
I
would
don't
hit.
have any
Oh,
tattoos. Very hesitant. 3 foot putt. This is a lot of whoa, whoa, whoa! I'm getting one. We got to keep it. You got the 3 foot putt reference. That's
yeah,
it's not
gotcha.
always a give. It's not always a gimme. Little shit left in the diaper. You got to finish that one off. It's not a gimme, buddy.
That might have been the best description of all time in terms of getting a tattoo, committing to get a tattoo. Well, we talk about your creativity. There's a couple things I wanted to talk to you about now that you're not going to retire on the program today. I told Mike Cameron, by the way, we had him on the podcast
Yeah.
yesterday, and it was like, I'm going to try to get Rich Hill to retire. Anyway, so before we came on, speaking of creativity, you want to talk about the ABS system, which you had a great, what do you call it? Abbreviation for?
Yeah. What was that? It was anti BS, aggravated bullshit. I don't remember what. Now I can't remember what I said. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it was automated bullshit.
Yeah,
Something.
that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. Automated bullshit. That's it. Yeah.
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 So by that, I suspect that you are not a fan of this decision. Please elaborate.
I just, you want it to be fair. You don't want any input from a couple of now it's everywhere in the country, but gambling. Who's in charge? Obviously they will be under strict guidelines and under control of where the strike zone is and how it's going to be appropriated for every hitter and accurate. The accuracy of it is the biggest thing. Um, and I understand the human element of the game and being able to have the accuracy of a human being, the umpire behind the dish. But they work extremely hard at what they do. I know that the criticism never ends for that job, as it does for a player. But at the same time, I still think that human element part of the game is something that, a lot of people want. And if it's not going to be that's my biggest thing, is that if the ABS is not accurate, then it's not going to be something that's going to be fair. And the biggest thing that I see is happening is trying to divide the union. And if you can divide the union between hitters and pitchers, which a CBA is on the horizon and coming up, that's going to be good for only one side of this game. And unfortunately, if that's going to be the factor, we're going to find ourselves, in a position with baseball that none of us want to see. And I think that that's something that, really has to be taken a hard look at. And again, these rules that get implemented into the game of baseball are the majority rule goes to the ownership, and the players have a lesser vote in that committee, right? So I'm not 100% sure what the numbers are. I think it's like two umpires, maybe five owners and four players or something like that. I don't even know what the numbers are. All I know is that the players would never have either an equal vote or a majority vote. So it's unfortunate,
When you're in the middle of it, like you talk about the players that, dividing the union and the hitters and the pitchers and everything else like that. What kind of challenge is that going to be? Like, you've gone through this a few times, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of challenge is that going to be?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the biggest thing is always, the guys sticking together as a unit, as a whole, and being able to move forward as one voice. And I think, this is something that really should be challenged from both ends of the spectrum. What I experienced this year, and it was at the AAA level before being called up to Kansas City, was, there was no top part of the strike zone. No, zero top part of the strike zone. You challenge, you think you're going to get a high strike. There is no high strike. There is, a low strike to a point where it's not the knees, right? So the knees, I mean, what is under the rule book, what is exactly is the definition of the strike zone?
Knees.
Because what's that?
No, I think knees, when you're growing up, it's knees to the chest, but I don't even know if it's that.
No, it's definitely not that. It's
Yeah.
definitely not that, but
Knees
it's
to the-
definitely
yeah.
it's definitely not even knees to the belly button
Yeah.
with the automated, balls and strikes. So I think that that's something that, sorry about that.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I think that's something that needs to be visited, is that, every player is going to be measured, or however that measurement is going to be, is dead on accurate. Because if it is, fine, it's fair. But if it's not, and, then it's not going to be obviously fair for the pitchers, and also for many of the hitters that, want their strike zone to be accurate.
So your experience with it was the strike zone small, and especially at the top part of the strike zone.
Yeah, top part of the strike zone. Talked to many of the hitters that said anything that I felt was above the belt, I would challenge. And when we challenge it over the belt, now we're talking about the belt to above the knees. So now you're throwing to, you're getting a lot more horizontal of a strike zone, right? And less vertical on the strike zone. But anything above the belt would be challenged, and probably a really high percentage of that would be called balls. Now, that depends on if it was above the belt or not, on the perception of what the hitter was seeing and interpreting. But definitely from what I saw, that there were pitches that, that I threw in games, and I'm like, in AAA, that got called balls. In the big leagues, they got called strikes. And that was without a doubt, because I threw a couple pitches that were, high strikes in the big leagues, and I was like, shoot, I just missed that. And we get called strikes.
Yeah.
So it's not, but I mean, again, you don't know. And then it made me like rethink, how I was pitching. It was like, that's not a strike. That, I have to change the way that I'm pitching, because, it's not going to be called a strike high, an upper echelon part of the strike zone. Let's say, even if you're at that top rail, is not going to be called a strike. So if we're going to have a challenge system, why not just make it all automated? Just make the whole thing freaking automated. What the fuck? I mean, it's for the first month, the fans will be excited. They'll get excited about the automated balls and strikes. Then they're going to start to see a lot of walks, and the walks are going to increase in the game. The game's going to slow down. Now the time clock is going to have to come down because, what is it, 15 seconds?
Yeah.
Right now, with runners on, runners,
With
nobody on, and then runners on, it's
18.
20, 18. Move down 2 seconds, right? So why don't we just make it 10 seconds altogether? Speed up rules, play as fast as we can. I don't know. use aluminum bats.
I love the passive aggressive, Rich.
I know we're getting off track here.
No, we're not. We're not getting off track.
Me frustrated.
We're not getting off track. That's the whole point. Is that what you're saying is what people aren't talking about, which is you just said it. What's going to happen? You're going to be excited at the beginning, potentially. Like this is
yeah.
You're going to be excited at the beginning, and then all of a sudden the walks are going to go up. All of a sudden, this game which they're trying to speed up, it's going to slow down a little bit, and then they're gonna counter that maybe with lowering the pitch.
Yeah, we're just going to keep chase your tail. And then Vegas jumps in and says, "Hey, we're going to bet on every ball and strike." That's a really good idea because we haven't had any issues with that in baseball so far. This is Pandora's box is completely open.
Yeah. So what is when it comes to, they said only the catcher, the hitter, and the pitcher can challenge.
Correct.
What was your experience with that? Because I got to imagine that something comes from the bench at some point, right? I know it's right.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to look in. You're not allowed to, let's say a right-handed hitter is up. They're on the third base side of the dugout. Pitch comes in, whatever, gets called a strike, and he peeks over to the dugout. He can't challenge.
Yeah.
Because he's looked in his dugout. But that's not to say somebody can't be in the stands. That's not to say somebody can't be in the outfield, holding up signs or whatever. I mean, this is all crap that's already happened. This stuff has already happened with sign stealing and being able to, let the hitters know what's coming. So, I think it just creates more of an issue.
Yeah. Well,
and I don't know how, just from the fact of, I know the umpires always want to get the call right. They work hard. They do. And that is one thing I think with that automated balls and strike system in AAA, that when they get to the big leagues, that if they're using it in the minor leagues to get a better eye for the strike zone, then when they get to the big leagues, that's what that training aid should be for. It shouldn't be for, hey, we're going to leave it up to the players to determine. And is it something that's bringing excitement to the stadium? Because it's just going to take more time for the game.
Well, I think
you're going to have to wait for the call. Everybody's going to get excited.
Yeah, I mean, I think that initially when I first saw it in spring training, I was like, "Oh, they put it up on the jumbotron. Oh, the anticipation and all of it." But that kind of goes away.
That will wear off. After the first month. People will be like, "Oh, great, here we go. We got to wait for here it comes. Here comes the ball." Oh, great call. Or, oh, you blew it.
It's so true. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's the other part about this is that, and I talked to Carlos Narvaez, the catcher, about this because he went through it last year in spring training this year. And one of the things is the umpires start second guessing themselves.
Yes. Yep. They did this year too. I saw it this year because I started off hot out of the gates. I was 3 for 3, and then the next 7 or 8, not so good. But I was challenging, and then you could see okay, that curveball that was at the top of the zone that caught the top of the zone was a strike. Then now you can see it. Yeah, they're second guessing themselves. They're like, oh my gosh, okay, that was a little bit higher. Now if I throw another one that maybe is a little bit higher, they might be sitting there thinking I got to call it now.
Yeah. But
the other teams now this is where it becomes more strategy too, because now if the other team is out of challenges, and I would. So that's a part of it. That's a factor of it. Also, the factor of having a veteran pitcher on the mound and a young catcher, or vice versa, a veteran catcher and a young pitcher. What is that going to kind of
Yeah,
bring to
who
the team?
who is when you go out there, who is going to be the guy who said the designated
Well,
challenge?
I mean, if I'm playing, armchair manager, I'm saying that it's up to the catcher. Take everything out of the pitcher's hands.
Yeah, because the pitcher wants to challenge a lot
Oh
more.
yeah, and you're in the heat of the moment. You throw a pitch and you're pissed and you're like, "Oh, it was a strike. It was called a ball." And you're, BS and you're like, "I'm challenging it." And you miss by 3 balls. You're like,
Yeah. Well,
so anyway, if anything, it will make for some good theater, which
yeah.
is what it is. We're in the entertainment business.
I love
So
I love how
come out with
facetious I love how
shooting Roman
facetious you are. It's great. Again,
shooting Roman candles. Nobody. Yeah, it's a big
this
show. It's a
this
big
is
show.
this is there should be if MLB Network cared, which they care. I mean, there's a lot of good people who work
Oh yeah,
at MLB Network.
yeah,
Um, they should do passive aggressive Rich Hill. Like that
yeah,
should be a
yeah,
segment.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. I know. I gotta clean that up.
No,
I
you
gotta clean
don't.
it up.
Dude, that's the most that's it. Are you kidding me? That's your trademark. That and the tattoo on your neck. Uh
Yeah, street
uh
cred,
well,
street cred.
another trademark of yours was you pitched in big games. This is an awkward segue, but I don't care. Postseason. I've been asking Rich a lot of players about what it's like to play in the postseason because I do find it interesting. Because I think some guys, as you know, they don't know what's coming until it comes. I
Yeah,
just talked to George Springer about it. He's played in 67 postseason games. He's done a lot of, he knows that's a lot. I think
yeah,
I've looked it
a
up
lot.
going back to 2017. The two guys with the most postseason appearance, Altuve and Bregman, both at 99. And then you have the pitchers who, what we're getting, Rich, what teams are doing is that they're banking more than ever on younger pitchers to help them to save the day. More than ever,
Absolutely.
more than
Yeah,
ever, which it
yeah,
might work. I mean, we've seen it work. David Price in 2008, plenty of
yeah,
examples.
yeah,
But you don't know. You don't know until
yeah.
you know. You don't know till you're out there, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing for all the guys that don't have any experience. You can only gain experience by getting in and then, getting your feet in there and then understanding what it all entails and how important it is to, be able to, you know, go out there and leave everything on the field, so to speak, and how important the effort is and what it is that you're going to remember 20 years from now. It's not the wins. It's not yes, everybody wants to win, but it's the effort because you can put your head on your pillow at night and be like, I did everything I could. You don't want to sit there and be like, geez, that came back in 2025, postseason. Every time you go out there in the postseason, the level of intensity is heightened, tenfold from what it is in a game in July. Or whatever point in the season where you're at, you can kind of compare it, not really compare it to opening day, but the excitement of opening day. And then it actually pales in comparison because, you're playing for, to get those 11 wins to raise a trophy. Obviously if you're in the wild card, that would be, 13 wins? 13 wins in the wild card, 11 wins if you win the division. Is that correct? I
Yes.
think that's correct. I think that's correct. If my math
No,
is
that is
mathing,
right. That is
I think my
correct.
math is mathing.
Your math be mathin'.
Yep. And I think that I know from the experience of pitching in the division series and pitching in wild cards, that is to me is the hardest series to kind of get through. Obviously, they're all very difficult, but by the end of it, and you're in the World Series, you're like, we're the only two teams left. There's nothing, we have nothing to lose. We literally have nothing to lose. And if you go into it with that mindset and understand what that mindset is, where it just boils down to the work that you've put in and all the time and the effort that you put in the gym, in the, fielding ground balls, hitting batting practice, all the way back to spring training, and remember what it took to get to this point. It puts you at ease to go out there and give that effort and give that 100% effort, because you've prepared. The preparation is there, preparation's done. You can go ahead and look at all the video, you can look at all the scouting reports, you can throw all that shit out the window. Because when it comes down to it and you're out there on the mound when the lights are the brightest, you have to trust what you've been given as your talent to go out there and perform at your best.
Well said. And another thing that jumps to mind is, we saw last year, Rich, for the first time in the history, relievers threw more innings than starters in the postseason, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there were relievers that started games. There were bullpen games. I mean, I think it's a bad look for baseball.
Well, but here's my point in regards to that, is that with bullpen games, and the first one I remember was the A's playing the Yankees maybe back in 2018. And they did this bullpen game. And I'm just thinking, and I still think this, you run out that many pitchers, one of them is going to be kind of crapping their pants. Like, you don't know. You don't know.
You don't know until you know.
Right, but and to use you as an example, to use Blake Snell as an example, whoever, if a guy is dealing, he's not only dealing in that game, he's dealing in that game, which just happens to be in the biggest atmosphere, stage, third deck, lights, attention, all of it. He's able to function better. He's able to function there, and you don't know if the guy who's coming in, even though they might be talented, will be able to function with all that stuff going.
Yeah, 100%. You're kind of, we're all cogs in the machine, but you're greased up and you're out there and you're feeling great. Like, the ball's coming out of your hand great. The ultimate eye test is just being able to see the conviction from the pitcher when they're out there on the mound, which doesn't pop up on a TrackMan. Now, every time I talk, I know we've had multiple podcasts together, and people, he's he's definitely anti-analytics. No, I'm not. I love analytics. I love the side of that gives us more information for the game. However, at the end of the day, there is a human being on the mound. There is a human being in the box. Heart, head, and balls is what it takes to go out there and perform in the postseason. It's not about, who has the best spin rate or who can execute in the moment. That is it, period. That is it, because the hitters are squeezing the bat a little bit tighter. Every pitch coming out of the pitcher's hand is equivalent to about 2.5 pitches during the season. So you think about that. If you have a starter who's going out there throwing 100 pitches, right, that's 200 plus pitches for that outing in a postseason game because of that heightened intensity. So when you add all that up, it's almost like who can, we hear it all the time, who can slow their heart rate down. I don't know if it's really about slowing your heart rate down, but who can execute in the moment with that effort and actually function in a high level of more intensity than they've felt ever in their life, but be able to function at a higher RPM,
By the way,
and that's something that where, he needs to slow his heart. He might not need to slow his heart rate down. He might need to be able to learn how to function between that, those red lines.
they should take what you just said and they should put it in the Hall of Fame. I'm not kidding. I mean, what you just said, I've talked to a lot of people about this subject. And I think what you said, at least from where I sit, encapsulates exactly what each of these people should be listening to heading into the postseason. That's it. That's it. And so what I'm doing is I'm saying congratulations. Good job. Good job. Good job.
But I mean, that's it at the end of the day. It really is. It takes those three things. And,
I think one of the things, not to interrupt you, but one
Yeah.
of the things, when I was talking to Mike Cameron about this, we were talking about the postseason, and it was like this balance between you hear some people say, "Hell, you just gotta play your game. You just gotta be yourself.
Mhm.
You just gotta play your game. Just know
Yeah.
the game." And then you have the other people who say, "Listen, everything is gonna be micromanaged more,
Yeah.
and there's gonna be more scouting reports. There's gonna be more attention. So you gotta be on your game more than ever."
Right.
Ultimately, I think what those two things, if you put them together, what you just said, that's the most important thing. Like what you
Yeah.
just said is all of that. It's like that's it. You have to, and I'm saying this as someone who like never played in a postseason game, but I've watched enough of them. I listened to people like yourself. Is that when you get out there, you cannot turn your back on the moment. You cannot turn your back on what this is. Like you said, 2.5 pitches. Like it's the
Yeah.
intensity's harder, the bats are gripped tighter, all of that. You cannot turn your back on it. But also
Right. And
you
yeah.
have to trust, you have to trust exactly what you said.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep. All the work that's been put in and everything. And again, it's the one thing that I mean, I was fortunate to pitch in a lot of postseason innings and do well and pitch well. And that's one thing that I know from that experience is that being able to put my head down at night, knowing that I did everything I could to be as successful as possible. It had nothing to do with outcomes. Nothing to do with outcomes. It had everything to do with, if we want to talk about outcomes, it was more about the outcome of how the ball came out of my hand. That was it. If I threw the damn thing off of the, backstop 50 times, which I probably wouldn't have stayed in the game. But if it came out of my hand the way that I wanted to, I'd be like, you know what? I need to go just correct some things here and there. Whatever. You get my point, what I'm saying.
Yes. Oh
But
yeah.
just the way, the feel, the intensity, the aggressiveness, the focus of being it. And the other side of it too is that a lot of energy can be burned from all the other stuff that comes into play. The media now, there's, instead of having, let's say if you're in a big market like Boston, 20 to 25 uh, media in the locker room, that doubles to 50 to 60, right, as the postseason continues to go on, but especially in bigger markets. So being able to control and manage your time with these interviews, because it's going to be draining and draining and draining your ability to be able to carry that over into what matters the most is your performance in the game. And when I say performance, that means your energy, your effort level. So if you're busy about saying, well, this is going to be really good for, my brand, you have to check yourself at the door and take a pause for a second and say, do I really need to go do 7 or 8 outlets, or do I need to go ahead and take a relaxing sit down with some of my teammates and talk to them about maybe guys that have played in the postseason, what it's like to do this, and getting that rest is more important than actually going out and, taking 700 swings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of nervous energy that goes on,
I think
and sometimes you do need to burn that off.
I think the best way to prepare for any postseason game is to come on the Baseballs and Boring podcast.
Yeah,
So
100%. There's
100%.
no doubt about it.
All right, last thing. You played with Clayton Kershaw,
Yes.
correct? And I don't, there's so much to say, but I just want to encapsulate it by just asking the simple question. Give me your best Clayton Kershaw story.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, like there's plenty of stories, and I keep a lot of those close to the vest. So, but I mean, overall, just his professionalism, and the way he goes about his business every single day, his leadership qualities are through the roof, and I think everybody sees that throughout baseball. The way he's handled this last week and a half. Whether that be from the press conferences, the way he speaks highly about the people who have got him to where he is today and through his career. But really, it's just being around somebody who is a competitor. That word gets thrown around a lot, but when we talk about the ultimate competitor and somebody who wants to win at everything, no matter if it's, shooting into a mini hoop or playing ping pong in the clubhouse, it didn't matter what it was. I mean, he wanted to win, and in my perspective, he's the ultimate teammate, and I don't think there's a higher anything. When people talk about former teammates or guys that played with, saying that you were the ultimate teammate is the ultimate compliment. So it's something that we all strive for as players.
Man, you got your A game today.
It's the rain. The rain brings out the ions,
That's right.
the positive ions. We're getting ready for the Ryder Cup. It's coming up. Europe. Obviously, I'm not pulling for Team Europe whatsoever. I can't believe the U.S. is getting paid. They're getting paid. Yeah, get out of here. They're using it for good, and they're getting paid too. They took all that money and they used it for them. They used it for the players. I don't know where that came from, but it just fires me up. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, listen, we'll golf. We'll simulate the Ryder Cup because that's what we were all. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. There's a lot more to talk about, but I have to go prepare for a potential clinching game.
Yeah. You're going to be getting you could be ended up getting a different kind of to wear the old Sherpa coat when you go in the.
Nah, I don't.
No?
Here's my move.
What is it? That's actually a good question because those post-game celebrations.
I've been through enough of them. I talked to Jeff Hoffman. He had the best line. He's like, maybe somebody else said it as well, but he's like, you can't go with the goggles. You gotta basically feel the burn.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, enjoy it. Let it soak in. Let it soak in.
I picked the corks up off the floor for Christmas gifts.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a great idea.
You can't verify it, but they're gonna have to take my word for it. But it's a good one. So
little mum champagne.
Yeah. Joe had a great story was it last year? Maybe it was the beginning of the last postseason where Joe doesn't drink, so he was like,
yeah,
but he went back, he took his shirt off, he put his shirt underneath the faucet to douse it, and then put it back on to make it seem like he had already been
soaked, so nobody would.
He'd already been like in the thick of it. So
yeah. Oh, that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Jeez. There's nothing like a post-game celebration, though. Those are enjoy. That would be the other side of it. That's why you bust your ass when you're out there on the field in the postseason, so you can.
Both Zach Gallen and Dylan C said I should find them at the most lubricated in that celebration. Ask about the tattoo. So that makes.
You might be giving it. You might be able to just give it to him right there.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, Rob. Thanks.